the actual tour featured Prince as the opening act. And this was when Prince was just starting to get known. He wasn't really a household word yet.
He was just a duke
and,
at that point.
Apparently he went out at the LA Forum, which was the first night of the tour. And I remember, because I was there, he started stripping, and he took his pants off, and he was running around in a jock strap, and it was pretty incredible. And I remember I was standing right next to Bill Graham, and Bill Graham goes, "Hey, there's only one slot for a sex symbol on this tour, and it ain't that guy. It's Mick Jagger."
Welcome to the Better Each Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. Today and every day, reaching out for innovative ideas in every way. Today's show is brought to you by your future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee. Make a better each day now, baby. Better in every way. He's known for his 80s hits, the breakup song They Don't Write 'Em, and Jeopardy. He's toured with the Rolling Stones, among others, and he hosted his own radio show in the San Francisco Bay Area for 18 years. His resume and backstories are the best. Please welcome Greg Kihn to the Better Each Day radio show.
It's good to link up with you at last.
Greg, you have a radio show, I understand.
Well, actually, I just stopped doing it. I've been doing the morning show. Now, first of all, doing the morning show is brutal. I don't know. Depends on, I guess, where you are, but I was in the Bay Area, so I had to get up every morning at 3:30 and drive to San Francisco to be on the air by 4. So it was pretty brutal. And I did that for 18 years. And while I was doing that, I mean, look, I love talking to people, and I love my fans in the morning. You know, at the same time, I didn't go on the road for 18 years. People forgot who I was.
I was going to ask how you could do that, yeah.
Yeah, we had a bunch of hit records back in the 80s, but right after that, I went on the radio, kind of like I dropped out of sight. Of course, I was on every morning in San Francisco, but that really didn't make a difference. Now I'm back on the road again, and let me tell you, it is a lot of fun. I don't know why. I used to hate going on the road. Now I love it. It's like summer camp.
Yeah. Well, you stay 3:30 a.m. That's bedtime normally if you're out playing. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. And it's, I got to tell you, and I have great memories of Seattle. You know, we opened for the Stones at the Seattle Kingdom. When was that? Back 84, 5, 6, maybe?
Yeah, cool.
And, of course, they've now torn the Kingdom down, but I remember the feeling when we walked out, because it was, you know, it was an enclosed dome. So when you walked out, I mean, we were opening for the Rolling Stones, and there were 80,000 people there per show. We did a couple of shows. Let me tell you, you think you know what it's like, but until you do it, until you look down the barrel at 80,000 people, you really don't have any idea what it's like. I learned a lot from watching the Stones because, you know, I got to talk to the Stones backstage a lot. And Charlie Watts was telling me, hey, just play it like it's a little club. I go, hey, man, it's a little bit larger than a little club, Charlie. I mean, it's 80,000 people. He goes, no, just close your eyes, pretend it's a little club, and go out and play it like that. So I couldn't do that the first show. I was like way too nervous, but it did work after a while, and I kind of, I understand what he was talking about. You got to stop. You know, you play when you're in front of 80,000 people. You overplay. you jump around too much, you do a little bit, you're working too hard. What you got to do is just relax and let it come naturally. And, well, I'll never forget that. But there's a bunch of memories that I got from Seattle. What was the name of was it the Land's End, the hotel with where you could
the Edgewater,
fish for sharks out your window? Yeah, what was
the
that?
Edgewater?
The Edgewater. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's where all the big guys stay. That's
unspeakable craziness that went on in the Edgewater. And I remember when we played there, it was a long time after Led Zeppelin played there.
Oh, yeah.
But the vibe was still incredible. I mean, it was pretty... I also remember there was an old theater downtown, and I think it was an old movie theater that they had refurbished, and they were having rock and roll shows in. I can't remember the name of that place, too, but it was fabulous. Back in the olden days, and people, I think they forget this, but, back in the day, we would go on the road, and every time we'd go to a new city, whether it was Seattle or Cleveland or didn't matter where it was, we'd always do the morning show. So you'd have to get up early and go down to the station. But of course, when you did the morning show, you ingratiated yourself to the station because they always wanted people to come in there and entertain in the morning, at 6 in the morning. And we had a lot of fun. And I remember doing a lot of Seattle radio, AM radio, just being there. And it was a big step when I finally got into doing radio in my career. It really helped me that I had all these hundreds of hours of interview time over the years that I just done as part of touring. But I have good memories of Seattle, man. I really do. I love it up there. Great food too.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I hear different things, and we're kind of known for, I guess, grunge now. That'll fade away.
Yeah, but I went to some grunge places where the bands all wore flannel shirts, and I liked it. I had a very good time. We went out, we saw some baby bands. I don't even remember the names of the bands, but they were all good, and the places were packed out. It's a wonderful thing when bands can play locally and still have a great career. And, that's how you get from the first rung of the ladder on up, is you got to go, you got to show up, and you got to play, and you got to be good. So it was a lot of fun. We had to prove ourselves every night, and I never had a problem with it.
I'm sure you played thousands of hours before it happened, but how did you go about getting booked with the Rolling Stones of all bands?
Oh, geez. Well, I was my band, the Greg Kihn Band, we were favorites of Bill Graham.
Oh, okay.
Bill Graham was kind of like a dad to me. He was really a nice guy, and he helped me all the time. He'd call me up hey, I remember getting a call from Bill Graham in the afternoon saying, "Hey, Cheap Trick can't, Robin Zander's got laryngitis. He can't make the gig. Can you guys come over here and sub for Cheap Trick?" And I said, "Of course we could. What time do you need us to get there?"
Yeah.
So we ran over there, and I played it a whole bunch of times. So we had a reputation with Bill Graham as people that could show up and play and do a professional job. So the actual tour, I don't remember what year this was, but the actual tour featured Prince as the opening act. And this was when Prince was just starting to get known. He wasn't really a household word yet.
He was just a duke at that point.
And apparently he went out at the LA Forum, which was the first night of the tour. And I remember, because I was there, he started stripping, and he took his pants off, and he was running around in a jock strap, and it was pretty incredible. And I remember I was standing right next to Bill Graham, and Bill Graham goes, "Hey, there's only one slot for a sex symbol on this tour, and it ain't that guy. It's Mick Jagger." Yeah. So they fired, and I remember when he did this, he fired, and they had maybe 30 or 40 dates booked, fired the entire tour, just blew them off, and that's how we picked up and we started doing those dates.
No way.
And I remember when Bill Graham was like, "Bill," yeah, he said, "Look, you got to tell me, no matter what happens, you're not going to take your pants off." I said, "Bill, I've never taken my pants off ever on stage, so you don't have to worry about that." We went down, I had a great time. I remember meeting, this was an amazing thing. I got to meet my mother loved Bill Graham, and she always used to say, "Go and say after every Bill Graham gig, go thank that nice Bill Graham." So I go out looking for him, and I say, "Hey, Bill, thanks for the gig. God bless you. I really had a great time." He says, "Come with me, come with me." And we go through all these corridors and down all these passageways into the inner sanctum of the Stones themselves. Dun, dun, dun. And there I was sitting on a couch with Charlie Watts and Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall, and wow, it was unbelievable. Bill Wyman was there, and Keith, and they were all puffing away. This was back in the days when I was a smoker. We all were smokers back in those days. And I'm talking to Mick Jagger on the couch, and he's puffing away on. And I could smell the cigarettes. So I said, "Hey, Mick, is it okay if I bum a cigarette from you?" And he says, "Here, man, have the whole pack." And he gives me the whole pack. It was a pack of Marlboros, pack of hard box. And he gives me and I smoked a couple, and I went back into my dressing room. My guys "We heard you got to meet the Stones, you scumbag. How could you do that without us? We're your brothers. We love you, and you didn't even think of us." And I go, "Well, it happened pretty quick, man. I don't know what, but I'll tell you right now." I said, "I got the sacred Mick Jagger cigarettes right here in my pocket," and I whipped them out. And my guys were like, "Ooh,
oh, Jesus.
The Mick Jagger sacred cigarettes." So they all fired them up, right? They're smoking them like they're joints, going, "Oh, yeah. Oh, man." And at the end of that tour, my guitar player, Gary Phillips, had a little shrine in his apartment, and he had a set list from Keith Richards. He had the pack of cigarettes from Mick Jagger, and he had a pick from one of the other Stones, right? And he had this little shrine on his on his mantle. And we go out on the road. I think we went out with Journey, because we went out for a long time, maybe 6 months with Journey all over the country. And we get home, and he says, he's talking to his guy that was house sitting his pad. And he goes, "Well, where's the Mick Jagger cigarettes?" And the guy goes, "What, you mean that pack of Marlboros that was laying out?" He says, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I smoked them, man." The guy's like, "How could you smoke Mick Jagger cigarettes? That was part of the shrine." He was freaked.
Yeah, I guess. So you're now currently playing with two guys that I've had on this show, Robert Berry and David Lauser.
Those two guys, first of all, let me say, Robert Berry is one of the best musicians I've ever known.
I hear that all the time.
That guy plays every instrument in the band.
And well.
Very well. And he'll, that's one of the reasons making that last record was so easy, was that I would go over to Campbell, California, where he's got his studio, and we would just hang in there all day, like I'd come in there in the morning around maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, and we'd mess around with song ideas. And by 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we'd have a finished song. It was like that all day long. Louser was the same thing, because Louser's one of those old style drummers like Keith Moon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He was a pounder, and that was back in the 80s. I think drummers were a lot harder hitting than they are now. I remember, Dave was like he was savage when he hit those drums. I mean, it was like, my God, I'm shocked that he doesn't destroy the drum set every gig.
Robert
we just played last weekend. We did a night in Las Vegas, which was great, and then we did a night in Monterey, which was great. And Louser was there. And we didn't have a chance to do a sound check in Vegas because we were running late. He just walks up to his drums, makes a few adjustments, walks on, does the entire show flawlessly. Just nails every single drum part. And then when it was over, we go back to the hotel, and it was like, I was completely wrung out. And he was like, "Hey, man, I could play another gig right now, no problem."
Yours was Sammy Hagar. He was a fun interview.
Oh, yeah.
He had a bunch of smoking weed type stories, and he kept saying,
"Oh, yeah,
you're going to want to edit."
Me? That was
yeah.
That was one of our hobbies when we were on the road, especially back in the 80s. Mm. It was a good drug for being on the road, because you had to go out, play your butt off, and then go back to the hotel and then, watch Gilligan's Island. It was like you had to wind down, and it was the perfect drug to wind down with.
Yeah. Well, he kept saying, "You're going to want to edit this." And he said, yeah, back then, whatever, teenagers, he said, yeah, Sam, he calls him. He says he was into like outer space shit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, the amazing thing, it's like, he was a drummer's drummer, and just to be part of the Cabo Wabo crew. I remember going down there right before I met him, and I was like, "Who's this guy? Who is this guy? He's playing these drums." It was unbelievable. He was one of the hardest hitting drummers, and that was from the era of Keith Moon and John Bonham.
Yeah.
Back when guys really hit the drums hard.
That's cool stuff. I like what he does too. I went back and listened to early on stuff, and yeah, you're right. Drummer's drummer, and your son plays with you as well. It's amazing.
My son, Rye, is the lead guitar player in the Greg Kihn Band, and he's been like that, I guess, for 10 years now. He started when he was like a teenager. Mm-hmm. But it seems like everybody has a son who's a musician. Even Robert's got a son who's a musician. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's believable, actually. Yeah, I don't know, it goes beyond DNA. I think if you grow up in a family where everybody's playing music, naturally you're going to join in.
Yeah, I remember when I first came to California back in 1971. I mean, that's a long time ago. I didn't have any money, and I didn't have any job. I didn't have nothing. And I had to make, and I played on the street. I played on Telegraph Avenue. Every day at noon, I'd be out there on the street busking, the familiar form of busking where you're playing, outside.
With your case open.
And I used to go and play all day long and make like maybe $30, $40, playing in the street. And in those days, you could live on $30 or $40 a day. It was pretty cool. And that's how I started. I was playing in the street, and one day, a guy walks up to me, and his name was Malcolm. Malcolm owned a place called the Long Branch Saloon in Berkeley, California. And he goes, "Man, it's too bad you don't have a band, because I really need a band this weekend to open for some other bands. And I lied to the guy. Oh, yeah, I got a band. Oh, yeah, man, we're really good. We are super dude. And the guy goes, well, can you be back at our club at 7 o'clock on Friday night and play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? I said, sure, no problem. So I put together a band, and that was like 2 or 3 days into the week. So we had maybe 2 or 3 days to put the entire thing together. I put the band together in 3 days, and that band stayed together for 18 years and made 18 albums.
No way. The original guys?
Yeah, unbelievable. And that was, Larry Lynch and Dave Carpenter and all the original guys. Yeah, I look back on those days, Bruce.
Wow.
And first of all, there's only 2 guys left standing, me and the drummer, Larry Lynch. Larry Lynch was a great drummer, but he only drank milk. He went to bed early. He never took drugs. He never drank. He was a straight arrow. And now here it is, 40 years later, everybody in the band is dead except for me and Larry. And it blows my mind. And actually, I got a gig coming up in a couple of weeks where Larry's going to rejoin the band just for one night, and he's going to replace Lauser. So, it's going to be kind of like going back to 20 years ago, or make that 40 years ago. It's going to be. I'm really looking forward to playing with Larry again.
That's so cool. Hey, you had a guitar before the Beatles were on Sullivan. I was doing my reading here. What kind of stuff were you playing? Yeah. Were you playing Elvis or Ventures, or what were you doing?
Oh, no, you know what? I had my cousins were a couple of years older than me, and they were into folk music.
Oh.
And I remember we'd go over there for Christmas. We'd hang out, and they had the Kingston Trio albums, and Pete Seeger and Peter, Paul, and Mary, and I fell in love with folk music. And then I realized that there was only 3 chords in 99% of these songs.
Yeah.
So I started learn I could play like Tom Dooley, stuff with 2 or 3 chords, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I'm watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and here comes the Beatles. And I remember how huge it was in my life. There was so much hype about the Beatles coming over. When I saw them on the Ed Sullivan Show, I told my father, that's what I'm going to do, Dad.
Yeah.
And my dad goes, you're not going to do that. Forget that.
They look like girls.
Yeah. Yeah. And then here, I actually did it. And I had a great career. I look back on it and I go, geez, if it wasn't for the Beatles, I may have never been here.
What would you be doing? Yeah.
Yeah. I used to, when we first started, I had a band called The Moss.
Okay.
We were pretty bad, but we would do we did Heart of Stone by the Stones, and we do Hard Day's Night and Beatles songs and stuff. And geez, I remember it was so much of a kick. I was a young man, and every time I'd figure out a song, I'd go, "Hey, that's the same 3 chords that this other Beatles song is." And every time I go, well, you've got 3 chords in, you can play 90% of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I could. It was amazing.
The stuff that you write, it's all radio friendly stuff. It's amazing. I go through your songs, and that's good. That could be, that's wonderful there. How do you do that? Is it because you started out listening to those songs that were just catchy, and you have a tendency to go that way every time, it seems?
I think it's my, I normally go in that direction. I don't, I'm a really well-known lame guitar player, by the way. So my son is a virtuoso guitar. I'm a 3-chord man.
Yeah.
I've been playing the same 3 chords since 1978. And I could, but somehow, I remember when Dave Carpenter was was joining the band, and he said, "Hey, I can't be in your band. I only know 3 chords." And I said, "Dave, that's all there is, man."
Yeah, amazing. There's a Springsteen autobiography out. I don't know if you've read that. I got it on audio because it's about 5 million pages long. He's very wordy.
Yeah, I listened to that one myself.
Yeah, and he's talking about the 3 chords, the 3 magic 1-4-5 chords, you know. And
yep, exactly. That was exactly it. I remember seeing Springsteen because I've always been fascinated by Bruce Springsteen, and I saw him do a singer-songwriter, you know, guest set at the Troubadour.
Oh, wow.
Man, I say it must have been 71. It was before his first album. He was working on Asbury Park, you know, Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, and he came in and did a whole set at the Troubadour, and I happened to be there, and, you know, it was just him acoustic. Wow. That was it. It was just him acoustic.
Wow.
And he was fabulous. I said, man, this guy's a great songwriter. So like a year goes by, and I got in my head to do a cover version of For You, and this was one of the earliest of the cover versions. I think the Hollies had done Sandy, and maybe the Pointer Brothers had done. The Pointer Sisters had done Fire.
Okay,
you know, but it was real early in the thing, and I did a version of For You, which, you know, I love the song, right? Mm-hmm. And we started playing that live, and Springsteen saw my band do For You, and he started doing my arrangement live, which was kind of like it was like a Byrds arrangement. You know, it was kind of like Jim McGuinn.
Yeah, Roger McGuinn.
Jingly, jangly, 12-string, and so forth. And I did that, and then he started doing my version.
That's flattering.
And he would tell people, "Oh yeah, hey, this is Greg Kihn's version," and he would do my version. And I was, you know, my head got to the size of a basketball. I mean, it was huge. And then later on, he shows up at we were playing the Roxy in L.A. He shows up and he gives me another song, Rendezvous, which was I think an outtake from the Born to Run album, and he gives me a cassette, and I'm trying to figure out the words, and he's not, you know, he's not known for his diction. Let me put it that way. Bruce Springsteen is not known for his diction.
Really?
And there was one line in Rendezvous, I swear to God, it sounds like he's saying, "We desire so much more than squirrels."
Okay. What is he saying?
What is this squirrels thing? So I know what he's saying. I had to do it like Springsteen. You had to do it. "We desire so much more than squirrels." You know, and I started doing that. I was doing it for about a year, and he comes up to me at the Berkeley Community Theater. I remember that. He comes up to me. He goes, "Greg, there ain't no squirrels in that song, man."
So what was it?
So anyway, I got the real version was "We desire so much more than this girl."
Oh.
And I said, "Bruce, how did you get from this girl to squirrel?"
To Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yeah, that's good. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you've told this story a million times. What's the background? What's the backstory of the breakup song?
Yeah, you know, it was 2 songs. I had a verse from one song and a chorus from another song. And we used to have a garage that we rehearsed in back in Berkeley back in the day. And we'd start messing around there. And I had played the chorus from, you know, what was going to become the breakup song. And my bass player, Steve Wright, he said, "Yeah, you know, that would work with this other idea that we got from another song. It's a different song." So we put them together. We got the 2 halves together, and I said, "Wow, this is great." And then I didn't have enough lyrics. We're in a garage, and I'm trying to come up with lyrics. So I started plugging in, if I didn't have lyrics, I just and I sang,
Jeez. It's brilliant.
It turns out that those were the magic words.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, I look back now, I don't know what I was thinking that day, but we've gone around the world with that song, and it translates into every language, every known language. You go to Japan and the people go, "Oh, you're the guy. I love that song, man." And it's amazing. So we started doing that, and I never stopped. I mean, I never thought that there was more lyrics to write. I just said, this works. Let's just stop right here.
Well,
that's what happened.
I've been telling people I was going to talk to Greg Kihn today, and they say, Greg Kihn, yeah, the breakup song. I go, oh yeah. So you're right.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
See, now that's the problem, Bruce. The problem that I had was I was on the radio for 18 years.
Uh-huh.
So for 18 years, I didn't go on the road. I didn't, I would just play the occasional local gig, and that was it. We were going to do the breakup song, and it's ironically, that was the song that everybody loved, and I had no idea that song had those kinds of legs.
Yeah.
They call it legs
on
the thing. And it just I played all over the country. In fact, all over the world, in places like France and Germany, and they loved it. So it was like the song became like my theme song.
Just think all those lyrics you struggle over, and then there's that one. That's amazing.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you got to learn a lesson from that, man.
Is there a new one off your new album you want to talk about?
Yeah, I love the new album. We had a lot of fun making it. I have a new band, obviously, with Dave Lauser and Robert Berry and my son Rye on guitar.
Yeah.
And we had gone into Soundtech Studios down in Campbell, which is Robert's studio. And, since I last made an album, which was 20 years ago or something, it's been a revolution in sound recording. Everything's changed now. Now, there's the concept of tape is alien. You know what I mean? Everything's done on the computer. It's all done on a hard drive, and it's all digital. So, I didn't really know what to make of that, but it was real easy when we came. We get a song ready, like Pink Flamingos is a good example.
Yeah, just
whipped it out, and then we walked into the recording studio and did it in one take. It was like, wow. This is a lot easier than I remember.
I once knew a girl, well, she was fine and dandy. All she wore was pink. She was just like candy. She had a strange fascination when she would open her windows. Everywhere you looked, a big pink flamingos. Big pink flamingos. Hey, hey. Big pink flamingos. That's what I say. A big pink flamingos. Hey, hey. Big pink flamingos. Every day. She got her stretch pants on, and they're extremely tight. Hair up and curlers. She going out tonight. One Betty Page and one Judy Jetson. Pure trail of trash. That's my obsession. Big, big flamingos. Hey, hey. Big, big flamingos. What I say. Big, big flamingos. Hey, hey. Big, big flamingos. Every day. She got a big tattoo running down her back. Elvis driving a pink Cadillac. She got a double wide up on cinder blocks. All dressed up like Goldilocks. Never knew a girl that could dance so fine. Like that trailer trash baby of mine. One for the money and two for the show.
And we had a lot of fun making the new album. One or two takes for just about every song. Having a really good band is essential. And of course, Robert, this guy, we'd be sitting in the control room, and he goes, I hear a piano. And he'd go over to the piano. We'd play a part. He'd go, hey, I hear a bass part. And he would go over and he'd play a little bass part. They would listen to it and look, I hear a little glockenspiel. And he would just throw stuff on there. And at the end of the day, it was like, wow, what happened here? This is great.
That's amazing. Yeah, when he starts getting into bassoon and French horn, that's going to be scary. But yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah, hey, they're all digitized now.
Yeah.
You just push a button for French horn. It's there. It's amazing. So, I think the fact that we're digital now and where everything is, I grew up an analog guy in an analog world. And now it's completely different. And I'm glad that I was here to be part of the revolution. It was a lot of fun.
It was a great time to be alive. And you're going to, I hate to tell you this, but you're going to be 70 here shortly, aren't you?
Oh, my God. I can't believe that.
Wow.
I can't believe that. Hey, you want to know, I have my son in the band, right? And I got a great, solid guys in the band. Well, I got two grandsons coming. They're 10 and 6, respectively, right now. But in maybe 8, 9, 10 years from now, they're going to all be in the band as well. They all want to be in Grandpa's band, by the way.
Sure.
They love it. They watch us, they come and watch us play in the park and stuff. And so I told Rye, I said, Rye, you might as well start teaching these guys now. We're going to have 3 generations of Kihns in the band.
That's cool.
Yeah, isn't it? I can't wait.
Yeah, it's like the flying Walendas.
Yeah, that's right.
Tightrope guys.
It's a wonderful thing, man. We've had, my career has been blessed. Going back as the earliest, I started was back when dinosaurs roamed the earth when we first started. And, it was a wonderful time to be part of the history of rock and roll.
What a great time!
And, I lose friends over the years, like Tom Petty and people like that. And I can't believe that I'm still here and I'm still cranking out these songs. It's amazing.
Well, I look back at the old videos, and it looks like you were about 12 when you did the breakup song.
Oh,
videos.
yeah.
So you got some years in the bank.
Those videos were a lot of fun to make. And there was a guy named Joe Day was the producer. And I remember we had a band meeting, and he goes, well, what do you guys want to do for your video? Because this was the beginning of videos. MTV was just getting started. It was their first year. And I said, I don't know. He says, what are you into? And I go, I'm kind of into creature features. Because that's it. Let's do like a whole Night of the Living Dead thing. So we did this whole Night of the Living Dead thing, and it turned out to be a ton of fun. We did that in one mammoth 48-hour day that we just went in. And we rented a church. It was Mission Dolores Church, a very famous church in San Francisco. It was the same church from the Dirty Harry movies. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was right on the park of Mission Dolores. And remember they were shooting guys off the roof, and they had a high-powered rifle. Anyway, that was the church. And they let us have it for like 2 or 3 days. So we were in there, 24/7 working on the video. We only had a specific amount of hours to do it in. And I know that I'm going to go I can tell you I'm going to hell for the stuff I did in that church after hours. I know it.
I'll see you there. Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. We'll all be there. We can discuss it fully.
Okay. Maybe we'll do another radio interview for that. Well, I thank you for your time, Greg. It's been great.
Hey, Bruce. That was a fun interview. I really enjoyed that.
I love your stories, and I wish you the best with your new record, and wherever you are, I'm gonna track you down and come see you.
Absolutely. Thanks a ton. I really appreciate it, Bruce.
All right. Well, you take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. We'll be back with a new horizon, but until then, honor the future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee.
And we're all just trying to make the next day a bit better.